Critical moments in KISSTORY.
Make sure you like this video, subscribe, and share with all your friends.
You know me, I always overperform. And I think I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's what we like about you.
Just things that I just kind of thought. I sat back and I've just thought about the timing of this album, what was going on. It just got pulled off of the Hotter Than Hell tour because album sales were still tanking. People were coming to see them in concert. There wasn't a problem with that. They were putting butts in the stands and butts in the seats. They just couldn't get a hit. They couldn't get record sales. They couldn't get songs on the radio. This is pre-Kiss Army. And they were still this band that people didn't know. They were still dangerous, raw. And these are all things that was critical at the time. But they were getting desperate. It was very critical that Casablanca was running out of money and they didn't have the money for a producer. So Kiss basically produced this album with Neil Bogart in the control room. And it's very well common knowledge that even though Neil Bogart and Kiss is credited as producer, that Neil Bogart was just in there behind the control board with his pound of weed and saying, "Hey, that's a good take, guys." And Paul and Gene were like, "No, we're going to do it again." Because he was just trying to wrap it up, which they did wrap it up. They recorded this album in 10 days. That's crazy. It's critical that Kiss's management and their label were running out of money, and Kiss was in a tough situation. They were almost at that make or break point. It's critical that the album, to sound as good as it does, was only recorded in 10 days. Most of the songs are short, not very intricate, and some songs don't even have solos. It's critical that this is probably, I think this might be the shortest Kiss album. There's only, and I say this is critical, but this is kind of really nitpicky to me. I think this album was so rushed and they didn't have so much money, is that even though it's embossed, it's in black and white. And this is not the original press. This is like a 77 press. But whenever they did the design on the cover, there's a Kiss right here that is missing an S. And that stinking drives me crazy. It's like you could have redesigned it in a way. And I'll show I've got a few copies of Dress to Kill. I'll show mine. But yeah, that Kiss that's on the side there drives me nuts. And it just seems to me like it was just the overall sense of rushed. Critical that most of the songs were written and rushed in the studio. Some written in less than an hour. Come On and Love Me was written in less than an hour. Anything for My Baby was written in less than an hour. And some songs do not have solos. Anything for My Baby don't have a solo, and Rock and Roll All Night don't have a solo. I've got a critical misstep that I think it's a misstep it's a avoided misstep that the album wasn't named the working title. Although I think it could have worked. I think it actually could have worked either way. Maybe not with the cover, but it would have worked. I think it's critical that this album kind of started members playing instruments that they don't normally play. For example, Ace played all the guitars on Getaway. So Getaway was basically Peter on drums, Ace on bass, and on all guitars, and Gene and Paul singing background, and Peter singing. Gene played the rhythm on Ladies in Waiting, and Paul played the first solo on Come On and Love Me. And I heard it's rumored, I didn't put it in here, but I saw in 2 spots where I was searching for performance credits. I saw in 2 spots where it was said that Ace played all the acoustic at the beginning of Rock Bottom and all the guitars in Rock Bottom. But then I saw on 2 other credit sites where Ace only played the acoustic at the beginning, that all that acoustic you hear at the beginning is Ace, and then Paul played the rhythm guitar, bass, Gene played the bass, and Ace played the solo for Rock Bottom. So not a long solo, but there is one there. So I didn't put that in there because I really couldn't find definitive proof. It wasn't like full out unanimous. So that's what I've got.
And that's all I've ever heard is that Ace played the beginning, the acoustic intro. That's all. That's the only way I've ever heard it. AJ, what do you got?
Yeah, I wreck my brains with stuff like this. So I would probably say critical for all these songs that ended up on live for this album. There'd be not a lot of a live song. So, and I guess it birthed their biggest hit ever, this
Mhm.
album. So that's kind of a critical thing, I would say. Yeah, I mean, it's not my favorite album, probably my least favorite out of all of them. Not to say it's bad.
Original lineup.
Yeah.
Okay.
But not to, not saying it's bad. It's just, it's very rushed, like you said, very short. It just does sound good though. But a lot of filler to me, a lot of filler. And it was probably one I'd never really had until later on in life. So I knew the songs from Alive, but I didn't know the whole album. So that's what I got.
All right. And I've got something a little fun because I did some digging over the last couple of weeks and I was reading old Cream magazines and I found this in the August 1974 issue with Alice Cooper on the cover. So it goes back as far as August that this was said, but if that'll go away, I'll cut that out. That never happened. The Kiss was actually supposed to be in a movie, a made-for-TV movie before Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park. I've never heard this before. I don't know if you guys have either, but it says here, California goes kissy face this month. The New York Dolls just completed a TV documentary called Looking for a Kiss. Not to be outdone, Casablanca's Kiss will have a feature part in the Dick Clark production Werewolf of Woodstock that came out in 1975. And this is the ad for that movie. As you can see, this is, avoided misstep, I believe. Free Dress to Kill being released.
Mhm.
And I've also, if you would like, have
Did that movie come out?
clip. Yeah, but Kiss is not in it. So they avoided this clusterfuck.
I don't know.
You know you're in there, kid. Come on out. Bob?
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
That looks exactly like Phantom of the Park.
Yeah,
music and everything.
I said
that werewolf could just as easily been a white ape jumping out of that tree on Ace.
right.
and if you put it in your Google or Schmoogle, as Gene likes to call it, it is online, the full movie. You can watch it.
Okay, well, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Werewolf of Woodstock.
Werewolf of Woodstock. Shit, yeah.
AJ,
I don't know about you guys. I've
it.
never heard that before.
We want a
I've
review
never
video,
heard
AJ.
A review video? All right.
We want a review video.
And I was thinking maybe we should do a watch along of that movie.
And then we'll put Kiss in there ourselves.
Yeah, there we go. Or we could just do what everybody else is doing now and just put, have AI.
I got your werewolf. Come on. Yeah. Get back there, Gene.
I thought that was very interesting.
I never heard that either.
Man,
And it was
awesome.
right there in front of us all these years.
Yeah.
I've never
these
seen a
years.
video of anybody talking about it. I've never read it anywhere. And I just happened upon it. I was like, okay, this is perfect.
Man, you
Now
win.
I want to know why it didn't happen. That's what I want to know.
You win the round right there, man.
And
Man.
after I read it, that's what I did. I found the movie and then I'm like, okay, I got to find out why they aren't in it. I couldn't find anything else other than that little blurb in Cream from August 1974.
Certain have been. It surely couldn't have been because they didn't like the caliber of the production because it looked just like Phantom.
The cut scene.
And I mean, it's a Dick Clark production, so it's not like it was aired. Like Kiss was gonna be on TV, so why wouldn't they be in it other than the fact that it was just god awful?
They could have just easily cut to a scene and Paul going, "Let's go."
I don't believe it.
The werewolf's still in the park.
The werewolf's still in the tree.
This werewolf won't die.
Yeah.
Easy, Wolfman. He is furious.
Oh,
There we go.
that's crazy.
All right.
That's made my whole video for this. That's awesome. You win that round, Tommy.